All righty. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing amazing and happy new week. We have just completed our team conference. So they left yesterday and I'm all by myself here at the Gold Coast house for another week. But next to me, I have got the gorgeous Emma Mathews. As you can see there behind her is her book. I'll show you a close-up version of that look, what that looks like. It's Stop Giving, Start Living, from burnout to chill out. And I can't wait to talk to you this morning, Emma, because as I've had a very intense 9 days conferencing with 5 people at the house looking after them, it's been like an extended retreat. And definitely that's why I'm staying on, to chill out for the next 6 or 7 days before I come back to family and kids running around. So thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here, Nat.
I love it. I love it. And so Emma is based in Canberra, guys. I'll give you a little official introduction and then we'll get into, the reasons why she wrote the book and find out some of these chill out hacks that she's got that I'm going to implement straight away this week because I can. So let's go through who Emma is. So Emma Mathews is a self-care specialist, Burnout Recovery Expert, professional speaker, tranquility seeker, and author of Stop Giving, Start Living. So she's passionate about helping professionals and mamas find how they can reclaim their life and get through the mix of work, family, and expectations in today's demanding world with more calm and less stress. Emma believes self-care and downtime are an essential part of replenishing lost energy among all the busy that goes on. In her book, she shows you how to redefine and discover what you really need and give back to yourself with kindness and self-compassion before burnout changes everything. Let Emma guide and empower you on your journey to recovery with practical solutions to de-stress and refocus on a path to relaxation and self-care. Emma knows firsthand how burnout can creep up when we least expect and is dedicated to reducing the high rate of burnout that currently befalls today's overbusy, information overloaded society. All right, Emma, lots to talk about. It's such a current topic of the now, this. So
yes.
Was it part of your story that you've been through this, and how did it culminate to become a book? Tell me a little bit about the backstory of it all.
Well, yeah, so the backstory really is that I have been through burnout myself about 6 years ago. It was something that did creep up on me when I was really, really busy in my career, my previous career. I wasn't giving myself enough time to really wind down and switch off to work and my other commitments. So I was really pushing myself in a lot of aspects of my life. And I did do yoga back then, but that was my real one way I was winding down, but I didn't have the self-awareness to look after myself to the level that I really needed in that high pressure job I had.
Wow. And so what prompted you to want to write a book about this?
Yes, well, it's something that I started to realise once I started my recovery journey through burnout. It was that it couldn't just be me going through burnout. We all have so much on our plates these days. We're all juggling multiple commitments. We've just got, we're just overloaded with stuff to do, basically. And unless we say no to that, we'll just keep putting more and more stuff on our to-do lists. So realising that it wasn't just me who was suffering with overwork and busyness, I thought that other people could potentially learn from my story and take some of my tips and hacks and to implement in their lives to help reduce the incidence of burnout.
Yeah. How does someone know that they're close to burnout, or is it often too late?
Well, that's the thing. It really depends on the level of self-awareness that an individual has. For me, there were warning signs looking back that I just didn't recognise as such because I was so absorbed in other things, exciting things, fun things. I was doing really interesting work and, you know, loving, you know, going out and catching up with friends. And, you know, outwardly, I was having a great life and I was loving that life. But I didn't notice that there were some little things that were starting to happen a bit more regularly. Like I wasn't able to handle the busyness and the constant information overload on my phone. So I was doing a high pressure job, a lot of information there, and then, you know, I'd come home at night time, and part of nighttime is you look at your phone and you scroll through things and you catch up on, you know, with friends and stuff. But that wasn't really what I needed. So it crept up on me because of that, because I wasn't noticing, you know, what was going on. So it depends on your level of awareness. If you know what your limitations are, I think that you're better off, you'll be able to better recognize it. If you don't know what your limitations are, it's sort of something that might creep up.
Yeah. Did you end up having some health problems because of burnout?
Well, the main thing for me is, I mean, I've really, you know, got off pretty well, because I've spoken to a lot of people since, you know, my book launch and stuff, and people who've come to my book launch have said that they've ended up with some long-lasting health issues after their burnout. I mean, for me, it's mainly a mental health thing.
Yes.
So it's like anxiety and that sort of thing that I have to manage.
Yes.
So I'm fairly lucky, really.
You talk about me time, and we've heard of that saying. You know, how would you describe it in your own words, like, you know, what it is and how does someone allocate that within their lives?
Yeah, so I mean, me time is really about giving yourself some self-care. It's about giving yourself time to look after yourself. I mean, when we're in the middle of all this busyness and juggling things, we can't see a space for me time. You know, we can't see that there's any time for ourselves. So it's really reassessing what is important in your life and factoring in some me time in amongst all that. So that might be just sitting quietly outside with a cup of tea. It might mean going for a walk on your own in nature. I mean, there's a multitude of things that you could do for that me time, but it's really, I mean, the trick is really scheduling it in. When we've got so much on our plate.
So you think, schedule it in, because, you know, you've heard me say it, what gets scheduled gets done.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So that's it. Get your phone calendar out and put into your calendar some me time somewhere during the week. I mean, ideally it would be every day.
Every day, yeah.
You know, but it's about forming a new habit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure everyone can. We do waste a lot of time as well. As much as we are overloaded or we take on a lot, I think we also we're time wasters. You know, people waste a lot of time on their devices and on social media. Perhaps that extra half an hour didn't have to be. I mean, most people are using social media or are on their devices 4 to 6 hours a day. You know, I'm sure you can deduct 30 minutes out of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of time, isn't it? 30 minutes. And I mean, I know how time passes too when you're scrolling through. You look at something and then you click on a link and it leads to something else interesting. And then before you know it, half an hour has disappeared.
That's right. Yeah. So I used to, in the early days when I was doing life coaching and all that, I used to get people to do a time audit for 2 weeks, and to actually just really write down what you did every half an hour of the time that you were awake, right? And then you'd write down when you were asleep and all that sort of stuff. And just to see where actually the time goes, because often some people also sleep too much, you know, so, and they don't need to sleep as much. I know sleep is kind of one of those things that girls don't never have enough and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, the biggest time wasters, we figured out were social media and sleeping, you know, or watching TV and Netflix. How many people waste, you know, binge on that kind of stuff, and that you could be doing, you know.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, all those screens, you know, really add to, you know, the information overload that we're experiencing too, because it might just be a movie, but it's still information.
Yeah.
You know, you're digesting it, you're processing it, you know, so your brain is not really, you're not really allowing your brain to settle and think about, you know, whatever comes into your mind, you know, just relax.
So what you're saying is like, you know, watching Netflix or sitting down to a movie or scrolling through your phone for half an hour when you have a spare moment is not really taking me time.
That's not what I'm talking about now.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. So share with us, you know, what sort of chill out hacks have you got, you know, that you share in your book?
Yep. I mean, so the ones that really work for me are spending time in nature.
Nice.
So whatever that means, it means sitting outside with a cup of tea, listening to the birds, lying on the ground, a picnic rug, looking at the clouds going over. I mean, you know, some of this stuff it's sort of like seen as a bit frivolous. You know, who's got time to sort of just lie on the outside, you know, anymore? But it's so important that we do this sort of thing to calm our active minds. Other things that worked for me were meditation. I'd never really meditated before burnout. I said I've done yoga for years, but not meditation, and this was something that it took a lot of effort to try and get a habit going with meditation. It was a real struggle at the start to try and implement that into my routine. But you know, there's so many apps on our phone now that can help with that, with guided meditations, and I use one called Calm that I still use today. That has. It's got a lot of great stuff on it. It's got, you know, just listen to music if you want. There's guided meditations. There's all sorts of tips on it, really, that, you know, it's just at the limit of what you want to spend on it, really. So I just spend probably 20 minutes a day doing 2 10-minute meditations.
Yes.
And so, you know, so that's been great. I also practiced yoga at a yoga class. You know, I'm choosing things that suit me. I mean, I'm not saying yoga is for everyone. You've just got to find the things that work for you. So I do yoga. I also do the colouring in, the mindfulness colouring in.
What are they called?
Sort of art therapy kind of stuff.
Yeah, there are lots of like little space, you know, flowers.
Yeah, little mandalas.
I forget what they were called. There's a name for them.
Okay, yeah. So I just call them mindful colouring. You know, so that is if I have been really stressed out at the end of a work day, I just used to sit and colour in. You know, just really focusing just on one thing, and you're not doing it to try and create this perfect picture. You just choose the colours, and it's about taking that time and just focusing in on the colouring. So it's not about achieving anything. It's not about, you know, creating anything wonderful. It's just about simply focusing in on one thing. So I found that really helpful. I mean, reading a book, you know, is something that's, you know, it's an old-fashioned, tried and true, you know, method of winding down, reading a book. But you've got
I do diamond painting. I will often tell people I'll do diamond painting.
That's right. You do.
And that's very meditative. It's kind of like replacement to sort of colouring in, but yes, you know, it's very, very therapeutic, and you're present in that moment. And as you say, you don't have to do too much or whatever. You can just walk in and out of doing that. So, and another one I was going to suggest for those that are listening for the meditation, I use an app that actually trains you how to meditate. It's called One Giant Mind. And once you go through the challenge, I think it's like 21 days, you kind of can then spend as much time or as little. You set a timer and off it goes. And all this stuff. I love that.
Yeah. No, there's so many.
What are some of the other things people would learn by reading your book?
So I guess it's about stop giving away all your energy on other things all the time. So, you know, we often give so much to our employers, we give so much to our families, and so it's redefining what your inner needs are. So it might be by allowing yourself some time to just sit quietly, you might start thinking about ways that you can make some changes in your life. And by doing that, you're saying yes to yourself. You know, you're really saying yes to yourself and what you need, and that will help you to de-stress. And once you can implement those things, it's just, if we're constantly giving away all our energy on other things and not ourselves, you know, how can we expect to function well in those other parts of our life?
Yeah.
There's a quote that I've recently come across, and it was a Facebook quote. I don't know exactly the origin of this. Someone listening might recognise it, but it's, if you don't take care of your wellness now, you will end up taking care of your illness.
Yeah, I love that one. I've heard it.
I mean, that really resonated with me, and it's a lot about burnout, because if we don't, you know, recognise what we need now, then in years to come, in 10, 20 years time, we're going to end up with some sort of illness, you know.
I agree.
So it's really about trying to recenter, bring ourselves back to what we need. It might be rediscovering a hobby that you used to do and used to love when you were younger, you know.
Yeah.
These things go by the wayside, careers take over, family takes over, but something that I did when I was recovering from burnout was, I mean, I'd always been musical when I was younger. I played the saxophone and I played the piano, you know, when I was younger. And so I took up the flute. So I'd always wanted to play the flute. And I found a local lady who I could do lessons with. And, you know, it's just, why not? Why not, you know, do something you've been wanting to do for years? I mean, and this may help de-stressing, you know, if we take up these sorts of things.
I think often when we stop and we take time to meditate and have some spontaneous time that is not scheduled for other things or responsibilities, I find that your creativity juices actually start flowing faster. So you actually solve your problems more effectively, rather than sometimes you go, I've got to find a solution to this problem, and you're actively forcing it and it won't come. But then you take some time to meditate, and some idea from left field just flies into your brain. I always find that when I do meditation, I like come up with all these ideas that I wasn't even there to get.
Yeah, exactly. It's great for creativity, finding some tranquility and space for yourself. It's really great for, I mean, a lot of creative people do that. You know, you go for a walk. If you're having writer's block or some sort of creative block, you might get out in nature and go for a walk, and then you come back and you continue, and, you know, it'll all come flowing in, all these ideas.
So sometimes it's like, don't keep pushing, because actually you're going to probably be more stuck than if you actually took the time and you solve something a lot faster. So what's next then for you? Like what are some of your goals and aspirations with how you want to use the book to help people? Or do you have other plans for what you're going to do?
Yes, I certainly do. So I really want to reach out to people who think they're on the cusp of burnout, or, you know, are burnt out, because when I was going through it, I just felt so alone. And I mean, the only people I talked to about it were my close friends and some professionals, you know, like a psychologist and my naturopath and stuff. So I want to provide some guidance for people around what they're going through, and tailor some chill out hacks for the individual. So I want to develop a business out of that. And also I want to run workshops, self-care workshops. So in Canberra, I mean, as with every city, people are just work. It's just, you know, incessant, you know, people are just always fulfilling their commitments and not giving themselves enough time to de-stress and wind down. So I think there's a real need for something like a self-care workshop. So that's my initial plans, as well as I want to do some book readings locally to try and you know, share the book and my story with others as well, and probably mental health groups. I really want to try and reach out to them and see what I can add, how I can add value in that space as well.
Now, one question I forgot to ask you, you're a mum yourself. how do you juggle, and how is your child? Like
Yeah, so my son's 4.
4, yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got a little one, yeah.
Yes.
How do you juggle that with everything? How do you find space? Because a 4-year-old, and when they're preschool years, they
Yeah.
can be pretty full on, and
Yes. Got to breathe through it. But it's been full on, especially with all the stuff in the last couple of years, the lockdowns, and I mean, it put a lot of pressure on me and us as a family, as it would have a lot of people, to still fulfill your own ambitions and goals while at the same time managing the house and the needs of family. I mean, it was pretty challenging for me putting this book together. Last year, I mean, because we had a lockdown in Canberra, I think it was about September or October.
Yeah.
And it really slowed me down with getting the book out. But I mean, through all that, I still managed to allocate an hour here, 2 hours there, doing a little bit at night, managing my own sort of stress levels at the same time as still making a little bit of progress. So it's just small steps,
Yeah, one day at a time, I say. That's all.
What's that?
One day at a time. That's all.
Yeah, oh, it really was. I mean, I was actually, I got a bit frustrated and a bit down about it partway through, because the deadline that I had originally, imagined at the retreat just blew out. Just didn't happen. But, I mean, I have my son 3 days a week at home, and so I've got 2 days to myself to do my work.
Yes.
And it's a real challenge, because I often just end up writing down some ideas during the day in a notebook or something, and then coming back to my computer at night time to grab some work time. I mean, it's not ideal, because we can't really focus and get a good flow going with just an hour here, an hour there, but it's just what we have to do.
So talk to me a little bit more about the process that you went through. Obviously, you didn't achieve your initial set date, but how was the process of doing the book, going through the program and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I did my retreat in May 2021, the virtual retreat, and that was great. The virtual retreat was a really intense couple of days that really allowed me to really focus in on my chapters and start to unpack my chapters, because I was a bit behind the 8 ball when it came to preparation, for the retreat and stuff. I guess there's a bit of procrastination and just all the the craziness with things that went on last year. I felt a bit distracted, so the retreat really gave me space that I needed to focus on what I wanted to achieve with the book. To really nut out my chapters and get some chapter titles happening with Stuart, and just the collaboration of the retreat, that feeling, the good vibes you get from the other attendees, I found really inspiring. I really valued that. To be part of a retreat, to do this. I think I was the kind of person that needed a retreat to get this off the ground.
And then what did you do afterwards? Like, what kind of, like you said, you scheduled an hour here and there and all that kind of stuff. So post-retreat, what was
so early on, sort of, I think for the first couple of months I had more time, because my son was in daycare 2 days a week. So I did my recordings, had got the transcriptions back for the chapters as I recorded, and started to edit those. So I did have 2 days a week, and then we had a lockdown sort of later on in the year, and then it was like an hour here, 2 hours there, sort of thing. It wasn't very consistent, and then I had it done by the end of the year. So I think I was in layout in November. And then I had my book in hand in sort of late January. I got that first proof.
So really,
Uh,
7 months after your retreat, which is not too bad, you know what I mean? We would normally say about 4 months, but you had the other distracting things
yeah,
happening, and we all had very similar challenges in being a Melbourne person. We had a ton of lockdowns.
yeah,
I remember putting my kids into hotel quarantine twice as well, and you just juggle and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah.
but
Yes,
congratulations. 7 months is
thanks.
not a long period. When you actually think about how long people actually do take to write a book, and I meet them all the time, and I'll be meeting another group of new budding authors tomorrow at the seminar. It's 10 years, 15 decades,
Yes,
so when you think 7 months, it's like a drop in the ocean,
yes,
in the bigger scheme.
exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. It's here
you should
now.
be.
So
You should be
great.
super proud, So where can people get your book?
Yes. So people can buy my book on my website, which is stopgivingstartliving.com.
I'm going to
They
show
can
people.
have a look. Yep, have a look there. And I've got boxes and boxes of books. So I can post one out to you from Canberra. Yep, there's my website. Bit about the book, about me, and then so under the books there's the button for the purchases just under the book, under the book picture. Yep.
I love it. So it's stopgivingstartliving.com.
Yes.
And if you get it from this website, of course, you can get Emma to personally sign it for you. For anyone, I noticed that it said Australia only. For the internationals, do we point them to Amazon?
That's right. Yeah. So there is on a different screen, you can see that I've got some subtext there under that button for people. I'm just encouraging international buyers to go to Amazon, or their favourite online bookshop.
Yeah, because the book is distributed, so it will show up on your Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Booktopia, Fish Pond, and all that sort of stuff. So
that's right.
That's the beauty of the online, I guess, options and opportunities nowadays, is that people in all sorts of parts of the world that can find your book and start reading. What is it? And stop giving and start living, as you like to say.
That's it.
Yeah. So, any last parting words you'd like to leave our audience with? What are some of your 3 hot tips you'd like to leave them with?
I guess one of them would be just question yourself, give yourself a chance to sort of question what you're doing. If you're starting to feel like there's never enough time in your day, you're running on empty and you're always saying how tired you are, maybe it's time to reassess. And just reconsider where you're spending a lot of your time. And the other thing is just want to reiterate how important it is to have that me time every day. Particularly as mums, we've got our finger in so many pies, different pies, and it's important to, come back to yourself and value yourself and give yourself some love and care too. So don't wait and see, is burnout going to come and get me or not? Just do something about it now, because you don't want to go through burnout. It is life-changing. It really stuffs things up and it really wakes you up as to how you're overdoing it. So don't wait, do something now, and give back to yourself now.
As you say, start practicing self-awareness and, and have a checkup. Sometimes some of your vitals might also show that you might be on the verge of it, in case you're not noticing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Emma. That was really awesome. I'm going to make sure I have my half an hour a day doing stuff, for myself. And I used to meditate regularly, and I stop and then I'd start again. So I think it's time to get back into it. So that's
good to hear now.
This week. Thank you so much, guys, and please go ahead and check out Emma's book on her website or on all your good on all your good online reseller stores. Here's another quick snapshot of what it looks like. Stop Giving, Start Living, from burnout to chill out. Thank you for your time, and I really wish you every success with your mission to help more people, chill out and enjoy great quality of lives, and then quantity as a result of that. I love it. See you, Emma.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Nat.
Bye.
Bye.
Smash it out.
Smash it out. Yep.